Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at Tom Brady's diet. Now, there's an article in the New York Post yesterday, January 30th, 2017, coming out saying scientists say diet total bullshit. Now, this diet was critiqued by two bozos, and I'll critique their critique, but before I do that, I'll give my own critique of his diet, reminding everybody that Tom Brady will be in the Super Bowl this weekend. 39 years old, and his diet is in the limelight now. And the experts, so-called experts, are saying it's not a good diet. Well, the way I look at diets, I make it very simple. I say there's 5 main mistakes we're making based on 5 things we mastered, and then we apply those to our food. What Tom Brady does is he stops making the 5th mistake, big mistake, and he's criticized for that. Oh my God, he's going to confuse people, and they're going to want to not put poison on their food and have it grow on fertile soil. What's wrong with Tom Brady? What a stupid diet. Yeah, Tom Brady won't eat anything that's not organic. It should be illegal to grow our food on soil that's not fertile, and growing our food just to make money and not make it healthy for us. It should be illegal. And then to spray poisons on it, that's insane. So he corrects the 5th mistake. He also corrects the 4th mistake, the processed foods. No sugar, no white flour, oh my God. No dairy, oh my God. The other bozo of these two critiques go, oh, you can't just eliminate a whole food group. Dairy is not a food group, you bozos. What animal continues to drink milk after it's weaned? The fact that your mother doesn't produce your food should tell you you're not supposed to keep drinking it, let alone drink another animal's milk like a cow. So that's absolutely ridiculous. So one thing about Tom Brady's diet, out of the 5 mistakes that we're making, he's correcting the last 2. Now, I did a video on the vegan diet versus the paleo diet, and I'll put a link down below. And I used the same 5 mistakes to help you understand the difference between those 2 diets. The vegan diet corrects 3 mistakes, and so does the paleo diet, 3 mistakes. The paleo diet still makes the first mistake, cooking the food, and then they're eating the animals. We're not biologically adapted to eat those. And then the vegans will make 2 mistakes. They still cook their food, the biggest of all mistakes, and then they're eating plants we're not biologically adapted to eat. So those diets are going to be better than the average diet, because they're at least correcting some mistakes. Now, with Tom Brady's diet, he's correcting those 2 mistakes, and then he's making better or bad choices when you do go to the animals and the plants. They're not processed, they're whole, they're organic, but you're still cooking. That's the big mistake. We have to wake up, my friends. We have to realize what we're reading and where it's coming from. We're being bombarded by bullshit every time we turn around. You don't want to read a stupid newspaper or a magazine article with so-called experts coming out and giving their 2 cents, because it's never worth anything. Every article I ever read criticizing raw food is by some stupid dietitian that comes out and makes stupid comments, and the average person doesn't know enough to go realize that's a stupid comment. So when we look at what the critiques were on this diet, I mean, some of them were legitimate. The one thing about Tom Brady's diet that's really failing is he omits fruit, except for his children. So that's a big mistake, because that's the only food we really should be focusing on. We have a symbiotic relationship with fruit. It wants us to eat it. So that is a major flaw with his diet. But again, no chemicals, no processed foods. And what are these critiques? Oh, you shouldn't eliminate a whole food group. There's no science behind the coconut oil. Well, I agree. There's a lot of items I've studied, and I don't feel too confident in what I read, because most of what you read is from people who promote it, whether it's MSM or coconut oil, whatever. But you have to admit, because of the heating temperature, if you are going to cook, this is what Tom Brady says. You know, we use olive oil if it's raw, but when we cook, we use the coconut oil. And they're all saying, no, that's not how it goes. Another woman, one of the 2 critiques, a woman, she comes out and says, well, one diet doesn't fit all. Well, it does in a way. We have anatomical limitations, and they don't teach this to our so-called experts. So the big flaw with the critiques in this program is when you look at what they teach nutritionists, consumption, absorption, elimination, they don't study the elimination system. That's why nutritionists say stupid things like there is no such thing as a bad food group. Moderation, moderation. That's nonsense. It doesn't work. And we are no different than all the other animals. We have a species-specific diet. One diet does fit all in a way because we have anatomical limitations. We weren't meant to eat animals. We weren't meant to eat grains. Processing our food using chemicals, that's a no-brainer. What are we doing that for? And none of that would happen if we were not cooking our food. So that's the beginning of the whole process. You got to stop cooking the food. And once again, we have to realize that our ideal diet is only an ideal diet in an ideal world. And that's where it gets a little confusing. Because now we have this other group of needs based on the damage we've done to ourselves and the environment relative to how our foods go, relative to the needs in our food. There may be certain level 2 nutrients we're not getting in our ideal diet anymore. We may have become dependent upon our mistakes, and I've gone over that in many other videos many times. So we have 2 groups of needs is what I'm saying here. And it's both based on anatomical limitations. You can't deny the fact that we have anatomical limitations. We have a species-specific diet. We're not supposed to eat animals. We're not supposed to eat grains. And then you have to realize that we've damaged society and environment. We might not get everything we need there, so we might have to go to some supplements in order to get certain level 2 nutrients we're not making because we're damaged and the environment is damaged. So this article comes up short in every which way. They make it look like, oh my God, we don't want to mislead people if they're not educated in nutrition. Well, if you're already educated in nutrition, you're going to have a hard time finding the truth because you're put inside of a box that doesn't have any answers. And it's almost impossible to think outside the box. The biggest problem nutritionists have, other than not studying the elimination system, is they don't understand the disease process. And when you go to our so-called experts in disease, they don't study nutrition, but then they don't study the lymph system. It's the same piece of the puzzle on both sides. So both of them don't understand each other, and even if the doctor had a PhD in nutrition, even if the nutritionist had a medical degree, they're still going to come up short because they both miss in those 3 pieces. In each one, they miss the elimination cycle in food and the lymph system in our body. So the biggest problem with our so-called experts in nutrition is they'll make stupid comments like, oh, tomatoes, you don't want to not eat tomatoes. Come on, the lycopene, especially if you cook it, we've done studies, it prevents prostate cancer. The problem with bozo nutritionists is that they don't understand what causes prostate cancer and how meaningless it is to go after the lycopene. Chances are, people who are eating more tomatoes are also eating other plants, and that's why they don't have prostate cancer. I always love what Dr. Walker said about the prostate gland. He said it's the same problem men have that women have with their female parts, their uterus and ovaries and things. It's the proximity of those organs right next to the colon on one side and urinary bladder on the other. So we got to pay attention to what goes into our body. And if there's garbage inside these, if we got a serpent inside our pipes and our urinary bladder is full of a whole bunch of nasty stuff, the organs right next to it are going to get zapped more than anything else. That's why men have problems with the prostate. Simple solution for prostate cancer. Clean out your colon, clean out your lymph system. Larry Clapp wrote a book explaining how he did the master cleanser and psyllium bentonite shake and got rid of his prostate cancer doing that. There's a simple solution to our diseases. Nutritionists don't get it because they don't understand that food has different bowel transit times. If they understood that, they'd realize that no, some foods were never meant to be put in our pipes, down our mouth, period. They're idiots. Think about it. You're getting advice from registered dietitians who are responsible for the school lunch menus and hospital food. Oh, you got to balance out the 4 groups. Where's the dairy? Oh, you bozos. Man, I tell you, I can get really irate when I see this much misinformation out there. And they are concerned that someone like Tom Brady will mislead the public. Hell, at least they're going to get him to correct 5 main mistakes and be making better bad choices. It's not ideal. And that's what we need to know, obviously. Even if the ideal cannot be achieved, it still should be explained as a standard to aim at. We need to understand what we're missing. And just changing our diet can help us figure that out. But there's nothing like a solid food vacation. It's the easiest way to make better food choices. You guys know how passionate I am about this. I put links in every one of my videos on how to do a solid food vacation, how to take the first of my 3-step process. I have a playlist for a solid food vacation. I've got motivation for you out there. Watch the Deborah Duncan show. Listen to Dr. Roba being interviewed when he's on day 21. This is exciting stuff. And remember, our so-called experts in health are not our so-called experts. Because everything in our society of any significance has everything to do with our health. Therefore, doctors are not our experts. Remember, we're a bunch of cells, 2 fluids. They study the blood and the cells. They don't study the lymph system. Nutritionists, consumption, absorption, elimination, they don't study the elimination. They don't see that piece of the puzzle. And the best way for you to understand what I'm talking about is to take a solid food vacation. And watch how long it's going to take before you stop having eliminations. For me, it was the most exciting 90 days of my life when I decided I was going to go the distance. And read the comments down below. I've got people finishing up right now, going 100 days, 95 days. They see what I'm talking about. You need to see it too. Why? Because it's a treat.